This is the motivational speech. So this speech is related to your academic career, and I think this academic career is very important for your private life also, and vice versa. In my quarter-century long academic career, I have dealt with almost everything, but to be honest, until now I have not had the opportunity to give a motivational speech to young colleagues, at least not in the formal sense. Of course, a good professor always motivates students, not only by what he or she said, but by the complete appearance, and especially by behavior that, to the greatest extent possible, should be in accordance with what he or she teaches. Otherwise, the professor is obscene, a simple illusionist. Such professors command attention, especially of inexperienced students, but they do not command respect. Their words fade when young lawyers, after graduation, tackle the challenges of legal life. Then the words and actions of those professors who try to connect norm and reality, law in books and law in life, emerge from their memory. The essence is that law should be strongly related to real life without losing its ideal and, above all, moral component. No matter how much in today's age of modern technology, artificial intelligence and digitalization, it seems that this statement has been overcome, I still believe in it. It is my professional credo, but also a credo in my private life. After all, life is one, just as a person is one. Therefore, a person is on the right path only to the extent that he or she realizes the unity of his or her deeds and beliefs. Indeed, the goal must not be selfish. It must be inspired with something higher, more permanent, and greater than individual interest. It must be, as Serbian philosopher Mihailo Marković once said, rushing to the sky. If you don't rush to the sky, all the time taking care of other people along the way, you will inevitably remain limited. You will become legal specialists, scientific researchers without much use for your institution, your people, and your country. In any case, you will be among the mass of legal experts who can describe but cannot answer, who have facts but are unable to properly arrange it in order to draw the right conclusions. What are the cornerstones in the education of a lawyer and, in general, a true intellectual? The first cornerstone is the family we come from. It is not just genetic material or even genetic code. It is about the cultural framework that the family gives us and which, no matter where we go and no matter what we do in life, remains as an important determinant of our entire being. My parents are lawyers. Father was a criminal judge, then a lawyer, advocate. Even today, at the age of 81, he deals with it with great enthusiasm. In an attempt so common for a young man to escape from his parents' shadow, I still attended the Faculty of Law in Belgrade. I was firmly convinced that, as my history professor used to say, I am not for paragraphs, but that law offers other possibilities besides practicing law and judiciary. Once the assistant in the constitutional law course gave us the task to make some presentations. I was talking about the separation of powers. After my presentation, the assistant took a deep breath and said only one word, illuminating. At that time, I did not know the real meaning of that word, but I am sure that it was that moment that directed me towards constitutional law and professorship. The second cornerstone is not, as is commonly taught, the school. In our schools in the Balkans, priority has always given to reproduction of what was written or what the professor said. That education is rather formal and could be superficial. Extracurricular activities are more important for a young person's character. My mother sent me to a music school to play the accordion. And that's when I realized that you can hardly achieve success if you don't feel what you are doing. Around the age of 13, I wanted to become a goalkeeper. At the end of the 80s, Red Star, whose European games I watched with my father, trampled everything in front of it on its way to becoming European champion. And it was composed of players of all nationalities who came from all member republics. Red Star was in fact the last great and successful Yugoslav project. With the disintegration of Yugoslavia, the great European champion fell. And I left football at the moment when I was absolutely the best goalkeeper in my team, not in league, in my team. Later, I realized that it is not enough to be the best to succeed. In football, not in school, I learned that success requires hard, continuous, but organized and meaningful work. The effectiveness of training is more important than its duration. Good physical preparation is more important than talent. Calmness and motivation are even more important than physical preparation, but all together are necessary for a top result. Today, I usually remind of it every student who says, "Professor, please trust me, I've been studying for a really long time or I've been reading a lot." It is simply not enough for a good result. The third cornerstone is the wider state and social framework in which we mature, but also later on carry out our professional and other activities. At the time of my early youth, it was undoubtedly the then great Yugoslavia, which, as the old song says, stretched from Vardar to Triglav, from Đerdap to the Adriatic, and was, it seemed, a serious multi-ethnic and multicultural community, be the West in the East and the East in the West, or, as the old Yugoslav movie says, something in between. It was located in front of the Iron Curtain, in the hinterland of European community, and at the head of the then non-aligned movement. I don't consider myself Yugo-nostalgic, but I often wonder what my academic career would have been like if the great country had survived. I am sure that I would be a better professor of constitutional law than I am today, because I miss a regular exchange of ideas and opinions with colleagues with whom I get along well, even though we nominally speak different languages. So I believe that you, younger lawyers who probably weren't even born in that country, can do a lot to soften the borders that were so firmly set by our politicians through academic, scientific, and cultural exchange and connection. One of the reasons we are here today is precisely that. If we are not all EU, and we cannot all be Western Europe, we are all Europe. That is its central and geostrategically extremely important part. I think that I rephrase something that dear colleague Varga said, that we are all Europe because we are firstly the representative of our nationality, because there can be Europe without those diversity of nationalities. Or maybe I think like that, maybe I am not right. I am not sure, but I'm sure, but I'm not sure that there are some other maybe opinions. So we can discuss about it. In the future, necessary process of European institutional reforms, our scientific engagement should be directed towards helping our countries and our states to preserve their national identities on the one hand, but also to better incorporate into the reformed European community, precisely to become more relevant to it, if not quite equal members on the other hand. Europe will never be a white marble slab, but a colorful mosaic, in which every stone is important in order to preserve both the beauty and the functionality of the whole. We don't have to agree on other things, but on this one we should, if we want Europe to be strong in the future. In addition to the above-mentioned cornerstones, your professional path will be determined by other circumstances and factors. I will mention only three. First, you must be committed to your work. That commitment consists of effort, emotion, and clearly defined goals. This commitment must not be marketing. It is not only for your CV, and it is not reflected exclusively in the number of published papers in reference international journals, the number of lectures held at foreign universities, nor in formal honors and recognitions. Your dedication is reflected in the daily hard work that makes you better, but also has a positive effect on those who listen, watch, and read you. Second, the mentor's role is central in scientific maturation. It is not just your professor who will review your doctoral thesis. It is a key intellectual and even spiritual figure with whom you will often conduct real and imagined dialogues, even when your mentor is no longer with you. I do not advise you to remain in the shadow of your predecessors all your life, but to respect them, building your own academic and scientific profile. The third factor is what is called luck among ordinary people, fate or providence in religion, and among those who believe in neither, it is coincidence or coincidences that affect your path. I don't believe in coincidences. However, my explanation would open up an endless field of new stories. For example, how I was elected as a judge of the Constitutional Court with just one vote more than necessary, or how in the Venice Commission working on constitutional amendments in the field of justice, I met my current life companion and thus, instead of a formula for an independent judiciary, seems to have found the formula for true love, that is Miljana in the third line. But let that be for another motivational speech when CA calls me again, if he calls me, if they call me, but I am not home. I'm sure that they call me again, Professor Silagy. So in this happy manner, I will end with, there was a top Serbian comedian from the Yugoslav area, it is well known, Milan Lanegutovic, who often ended his monologues with the sentence, I don't know why I told you all this, but I'm sure it can harm, and if it can't harm, then maybe it might do some good. So that should have been the end of my presentation, but just one or two sentences that I think that I should tell you here, and I will finish. Really, to be honest, I don't believe in motivational speeches. I really believe in deeds. In deeds, in your deeds precisely, because they will give the positive energy to you to be better in your career, not privately, but also for your people and your country. Thank you.